welcome. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, thanks for being here again.
You as well.
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm here at your place, so
No,
can't
no,
really say
no,
that.
Mikasa Sukasa, right? Like, it's weird. Like after we had Jimmy in, as our first guest there, it felt, I don't know, things have felt a little different. I don't know, just something about it really set this place on fire with good energy.
Mm-hmm.
And if you people out there listening don't understand that or don't get what I'm saying, go back a few episodes and.
Oh yeah.
And, I mean, we've done plenty of work or done plenty of talking about energy and both the positive and the negative. So speaking of which, we got lots of negative stuff going on out in the world right now. It's insane whether you're looking at a pedophile or a murderer or a politician or one and the same.
With the virus nonsense kind of
Virus
uptick, whatever, if it's true or not. Like,
Yeah,
man,
like here in our county, we've just had, I think yesterday was another 100 and something cases, which was a record day.
ours, little, we're not.
Yeah, we're
far apart
butted
in our
up,
county.
right.
Yeah, but yeah, same
Same
thing. This
thing.
past last week,
Yeah.
they sent out statements saying if it continues, they're going to go back.
Well, there's got to be. I mean, come on, this is obvious, right? Isn't it obvious that people started going back out and about, even when they were told it's probably not a good idea? Okay, well now we're paying for it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
And it's
whether you like it
mostly
or not.
younger generation, they say the biggest hit has been 2029.
Yeah.
People who are going to be younger going out. Walmart's putting out nationwide on the 20th. You don't got a mask on, you're not coming in the store.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
I hate to say this because I know a lot of people feel like their rights are being infringed, but remember, people, your right does not supersede or come in place of somebody else's right. So if your right infringes on theirs to live a safe, prosperous life, then we have to look at what you're doing to make an adjustment.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of my patriot friends, military friends, they don't like that point of view, but I'm sorry, we have to err on the side of caution.
I get a lot of people don't want to wear the mask. I get it too. But if that means that it potentially protects someone in the environment, like if I go to the grocery store, it protects somebody else in there who's older, has some medical issues, I'm fine with that, let alone hoping that, we know these things don't stop everything from coming. But
Yeah.
I'm fine if there's that small chance that it protect somebody else, because at the end of the day, I don't want to be the asshole that's hey, you're ground zero for this spread. And it's like, no, big deal, you wear a mask. How long do you even have it on for? If you're in the grocery store, hour at best, then move a little quicker.
Well, what about this? What about your let's just say a young 20-something healthy man or woman, you got no kids, you live on your own. Let's say your mom and dad and your family live somewhere else.
Yeah.
So the immediate effect maybe wouldn't affect you as much.
Yeah, because
right?
your circle's further.
Your circle's further out. It's got less touch points that are immediately available on any given day. So listen to this for a second. What if you lived right next to your grandfather and your grandfather was 85 years old,
Yeah.
still going, maybe not the best driver, maybe not the best at whatever, but he's still your grandfather, and he's definitely got another 10 years of life in him, if not more, as long as we're careful. So you tell Grandpa, don't go in the store, okay? I got it. We'll go get your stuff. Well, Grandpa's stubborn. So you go to the store without your mask.
That's how many people I know that like have older parents or like their grandparents or whatever, same things. Like, no, well, what's the big deal?
Right, exactly.
So
So imagine this. So now your grandpa is stubborn, like many of us are. Your grandpa's like, yeah, I don't need no damn mask. I made it through World War II, this, that, or the other, whatever. But it's your grandpa, and you love your grandpa. Your grandpa raised you. He took care of you. So are you going to tell your grandpa, hey, man, high five, good job on coming in here without a mask? Maybe you are. What happens when he goes home and he gets sick? And you say, well, he's sick, but he's going to be all right. Well, then he ends up in a coma. And then, no, then he's dead. Just like one of these school teachers that was teaching in summer school recently. One of, I think, 30 teachers that had summer school going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think 2 were hospitalized and 1 ended up dead. So, people, you may not like the way this has come to, where it potentially came from, but I'll be damned if any of us have the right to put somebody else's safety in jeopardy, no matter your opinion.
It's just like, speed limits. There's a reason they're out there.
Yeah.
Why you don't do 70 in a neighborhood, why that's on a highway. Other areas it's 45 or 55. There's a reason, because the area of what they've measured of traffic flow, people, pedestrians, how much time do you need to stop?
Right.
There's a reason it's 25.
Yeah.
Some neighborhoods it's 20.
Yeah.
It's so slow because there's that chance of children. There's a reason these things are in place. You may not like them, but there's a reason for it.
Yeah, totally. Now, I don't like any of it, and I'll be the first to sit here and say on any other day except today about how much I think that it's all been brought on by ourselves. And by ourselves, I mean ourselves, our government, and the people that they answer to, which is a whole other podcast. But if there's a possibility that you can help somebody else stay out of the hospital, let's do it. Right? I mean, let's try, because that's somebody's mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, little kid. Just because you have an opinion on a matter doesn't make the matter go away or any less serious.
No.
Right? Just because you think your rights are being infringed on doesn't mean that something else isn't going on that's going to negatively affect people. So let's get together and let's try to figure out how we can do some of these things as a happy people, as an informed people. And that's where right now I think you really, really have to do some digging with your friends, with yourself, because everything out there isn't exactly any more than surface deep.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, so be smart, people. And the reason that we sort of went through this little preamble, if you will, is we want to talk about when you get angry. Right?
Yeah.
When you get mad at maybe some of these things, or maybe your child, maybe your adult child, the little man child living with you or whatever it is. We get angry, right, Jeff?
Yeah.
And sometimes I'd say for 40 plus years of my life, I didn't really know what to do with that anger. So it came out yelling. It came out just brrr.
A lot of people do, and I still do too as well.
Yeah. So what we wanted to talk about today is different scenarios you might get angry at. You might just get frustrated. My wife had such a poignant way of putting it the other day, and she didn't know what she was talking about. She didn't have a name for it, but she told me, she said, sometimes it feels like my chest is caving in on myself.
Yeah.
I said, oh, that's anxiety.
Yeah.
That's anxiety. What's happening is you're getting a tightness. You're getting this whole thing that's centered around your chest.
You're restricting your breathing, which a lot of people don't get. Is like, I can't breathe. And, listening to Joe Rogan's podcast with the author of the book, Breath.
Yes, good one.
Yeah, like talking about like those types of things. And that's a lot of things like Wim and a lot of these, meditators and, breathe kind of so forth experts talk about, like, yeah, you get into that hyperventilation state. It's not, okay, I gotta take more. It's slow it down.
Yeah.
Because something I didn't know is, you have to have this healthy balance of CO2 and oxygen in the body at all time. If not, you also don't get nitric oxide. Nice booster, which is in a lot of supplements people take to get that pump before lifting. Your body naturally can produce that. But if you don't have the right amount of, oxygen and carbon dioxide, you don't produce the right amount of nitric oxide to get you pumped and amped and kind of going. But you don't get this full flush. And that's when people start feeling like their extremities are numb or cold and this and that, because you're creating poor circulation habits because you're restricting the actual push of oxygen through the body.
Well, and just like they said on that show too, it was great. They said, remember, you're not doing this in and out of your mouth.
Yeah.
You're doing it in and out of your nose, which is going to be a little bit harder for a lot of us because we've started breathing out of our mouth so much. It's not natural, not at all. And we need to really start practicing the other with the nasal breathing, even when you're under duress, and most importantly under duress. And like if you're angry.
A lot of people under duress, you see them when they get mad, they're like cheeks puff, like it's like you see it all come through the mouth,
right,
and stuff like that. But you can see the anger in the face and the breathing kind of tone change versus, just into the nose, out through the mouth, or
right. So it's never the guy that's all amped up and puffing his cheeks out that I'm ever worried about.
No, it's the one that sits quietly.
Right? Yeah. Because I've been that guy. And it was just a lot of like for show, right? But when you come into somebody, and it's a lot how one of my grandfathers was, didn't say a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
But he whenever it came. And you knew he knew what he was talking about. He didn't speak out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
He knew how to keep himself in check. And I think somehow, even back then, 30 plus years ago, I think he knew how to regulate that.
Yeah.
Because you never saw him get angry. You never saw him get mad. He would say things to where you knew he was angry, But it was the exact, like I always wanted to be that, but I was the exact opposite my whole adolescent life.
And I think that's a bigger difference in our generation than our grandpas, is you didn't have these lash out moments, this and that. If you had an opinion, that's fine, and you could discuss it, but people back then could discuss opinions and not be at a basically, fist-to-fist brawl or screaming match with each other. Right. As we talked about kind of before we hopped on, that point of being right back in that time frame is, okay, yeah, you are right. A lot of people now can't do that, and that goes a huge part of so many people and their egos just not having to, drop it. Been around enough of them. I can think of a few, but a few of these individuals, their egos were so big that no matter what, they would never admit they're wrong. They would just somehow circle it around to.
They would question you,
put it
or
back.
somebody else.
Yeah, it was always the other person. It's not that, and we've all been there where we don't think we're wrong. We're like, oh, I'm right. But, in all reality, we were. But it's that ego not wanting to let go to say, hey, yeah, I am wrong.
One of my favorite things, like a go-to phrase is, and I don't mean it to sound like it's anything less than genuine, but it is a nice little tool, is like, you know what? I think we're both right. Like in our own way, like the way that we're viewing this situation, we are both right, but we're both wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So let's figure out how to sort of get to a place where we can be okay with being right and wrong.
Yeah.
It's not an all or none. It's not like, Jeff, you and I are sitting here and only one of us can be right. We're just two little specks in the universe.
Yeah.
And by the way, who cares if we're right? At the end of the day, that's sort of the biggest part of this, right? Is you need to get to the point to where maybe you care, but you're mature enough in your mind and strong enough in your ego.
Yes.
To where that ego, when it gets I'll just call it like maybe an injury, sort of like a narcissistic injury, something that happens and your immediate response is fight or flight.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot more to it.
Well, that's, the book I just gave you, a lot of things too. Like that's a big thing for a lot of people is when we're right, well, we think we're right, or we want to be right, the immediate reaction is to fire back at that person who's opposing us to cause harm. That you say something, do something that deflates them enough that they're like, I'm going to shut up, you win, then I'm right. But you're not truly right because you just threw something over them, got them so angry, you said something that was so hurtful that you just deflated them.
You sort of imposed your will, if you will.
Yes.
Right?
And that's another thing, if you let someone else control your emotions, they win.
That's right, man.
And how many people are letting others control their emotions and they don't even interact with these people, see these people, like the news, the crap you read,
right?
Past people you could have, had in your life, whatever. You see these people do this stuff and it's like, you get these emotions. It's like, why?
Yeah.
But that's a big thing like that, the book talks about is so many people you get an argument of wanting to know who's wrong, who's right.
Right.
The bigger ego in the room will try to inflict the most pain on the other person to get them to bow. So I'm like, I'm right.
Yeah.
But you're really not at all.
Right. It's an odd.
Even if you are, you did it in the wrong manner.
Yeah. So like we said earlier, when you're right, sometimes you're wrong.
It's true.
Right. And that's very powerful and very, very much so speaks to the ego. And you can have an ego that's big and full of itself, but you have to know it. Right? Like you can be like, you know what, I got a little bit of an ego. Let's say you're going to be on stage, you're going to be doing something in front of people. That ego is very helpful in those times to get you to rise to the occasion.
Yeah, build a little confidence, and I think put that confidence to the audience and stuff like that.
Yeah, because you can't be a really positive person and just sit there and do nothing all the time. It's your job to push that out. And I think that ego, if molded correctly and if taken care of, can help you. Can really help you. I mean, I've felt it firsthand. I've done it, and it's so much more calming when you suppress the ego when it's trying to take over whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
Because even when it's helpful, it can't take over. It can't. You have to have that very healthy in and out, left and right, up and down. So that goes back to earlier when we said sometimes when you're right, you're wrong. And sometimes when you're wrong, you're right. It could just be how your delivery was, the way you presented it to somebody, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. It's not just the being right, being wrong. I could I could tell you 100 different things why I'm angry at maybe my spouse or my kid or a friend or that, coworker, whatever. Or I can shut up and I can just say, hey, man, how can I help you make that? How can I make this better for you? How can I?
Like I told you on the way here.
Exactly.
Like they're working on one of the roads by where I live. They're repaving it. And I'm like, okay, there's no sign saying it's 1-lane road ahead, and get down, couldn't see. And there's no signs. You get to the hill and it's like, okay, sitting here looking at the clock. Okay. 11 minutes go by. 2 other cars, get out of the line and go turn. I'm like, all right, well, screw it and do the same thing. I was a little heated, but then got around and I was behind like a truck carrying like massive boulders. I was like, God, please turn soon. Okay, cool. They're turning because they're not going to fly. They're not going to go. Yeah. They're going even on the speed limit, but it's like, what good does it do to get angry at the people who got the road shut down? Mm-hmm. Nothing, because the road needed to be repaved. I can't remember the last time it was. So, hey, cool. And awesome. Hey, yeah, city's doing good. So, what's the point? And I had a brief moment of like, but it's just like,
of course, yeah.
Then I got out of it. I'm like, I can't get mad at those guys. I was turning and flipping my blinker, and the guy's like, and I was like, wave nice, because dude's standing out there doing his job. And it's like, you probably get assholes all day. And it's like, dude, you're doing your job. You're making our road better. Can't get mad at you.
There could have been 5 dudes right before you that just flipped him off, or just looked at him and didn't respond to a wave or whatever. And, a lot of people are like, oh, those guys are always assholes. Mm-hmm. No, they're just a little jaded and maybe guarded because they had 75 people look at them like they wanted to kill them today.
Yeah, and I get that, you're blocking traffic so the workers can do the 1 lane, they're working on the 1 lane up ahead. I get that, those things. It's like, but it's like certain things in life, it's like, why letting those emotions take control of you? Mm-hmm. As we said, and, like Lao Tzu, Alan Watts, a lot of these guys have said, if, you're letting your emotions control you, that person or the inanimate object that made you mad is winning.
Oh, yeah.
To say that I'm getting mad because they're blacktopping surface, blacktop 1, Jeff 0. What's the point?
Right. And not only that, but let's go back to, like, if you get angry about something, if the intent is okay, if the intent is pure and it comes from a place of love, it's okay. That's where anger is good.
Yeah, it's a natural emotion that is going to stem from certain things, as it should. It's not to say you should never have it again.
Yeah, totally. Like, we've talked before about how, like, you get on Facebook or you get on Twitter or read the news or watch a video and you can become infuriated.
Oh, yeah.
Or you can not watch it and then you're good. Mm-hmm. Or you can watch it and learn how to discipline yourself to go, you know what? I'm going to read this and I know that it has a potential to make me angry. So instead, and this is all before you do it, there's intent, I'm going to read this with a very, very open mind and try to figure out if there are any gaps, if it's real, if it's not, whatever. There's more to it. And this can go on for as long as you want to take it. Your intent, no matter what, is the icing on the cake. The intent is, well, I got angry in that line and I got out, I slammed on the gas and it spit rocks everywhere. It made me look like a real dick. That will come back to you somehow. Maybe not in the next 10 minutes, in the next hour. It will come back to you. If you go out and you say, you know what, I'm going to see if I can eke in here, get behind somebody and go, hey, man, thanks. Appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah.
And you go, you have just done what everybody should do. And that in and of itself will help make the world better. It'll help make your community better. This one person, then the next person.
Yes.
Then the next person, right?
And it goes all in that, that interaction of, keeping that positive flow going. If you do good onto someone, typically, oh, wow. Even if it was just that nice wave to somebody, whatever, it will continue to snowball in a good way to the next person that they encounter. And then maybe that person does it to someone. And that's a big thing, like you said, anger is a human emotion that you're going to always have, and you should.
Yeah.
But there's a difference in time and place for when it's coming from. And now, in those aspects of anger, before you blow and explode, trying to take that moment of peace, breathe, sit there, and we're all guilty of not doing it. But instead of firing right back when someone does it, that's a huge thing of showing control of yourself, but also kind of deflates typically sometimes the situation with the other person who's very heated when you don't immediately fire back and you're like, nod, you're right. You're like intently listening and they're like, whoa, they didn't fire back. What the heck?
Right.
That's a big thing that a lot of people too. They're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
You know, because most people, when they get heated, they're expecting a war with somebody else in the room, and it's like
Right.
you can't do that.
Yeah. And that's it's so hard because we feel like we have to be right every single time about everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the simple matter of the fact is, if you just step back and go, okay, wait a minute, was Albert Einstein always right? Was Thomas Jefferson always right? Is Nikola Tesla always right? Yeah. No, they made tons of mistakes. Michael Jordan, tons of mistakes. He'll admit to it every time he talks on the air. It's okay to learn from being wrong.
Yes.
Because next time when that situation comes, you're going to be right. But you'll probably be right when someone else is wrong, and now you can help coach them.
Yes. It's a big learning process that I think no matter how old we are, it's something that we got to do, is that you have to know when it's time to admit defeat and say, no, I was wrong. I did not know that. Yeah. And no, I was right. But when you're right, obviously not being in the mind, I was right, told you so. Not being in the moment of gloating, just, hey, I tried to tell you, but hey, okay, whatever. But it's just that same thing, it's like you said before. Yes, you can be right and wrong at the same time, how you deliver that. Yes, you were right. Well, that was wrong. So boom, you just hit both.
Totally.
And that's a hard thing for a lot of people.
Intent and execution have to match, right?
But it usually doesn't. They usually don't line up. Yeah. Here's my intent, and I'm going to execute, and I'm going to execute full blown attack mode here.
Right.
When that's nah, it should be on that same playing field, so to speak.
Right. I would say that, and that leads to something that you know a lot about, is everything doesn't have to escalate to a fight.
No.
And I mean a fight in the old sense of the word, with your knuckles, right?
Yeah.
And when you approach somebody and they're going off and you're calm, you're cool and collected, your demeanor's tight, being disciplined with your actions and your words, you've already started to de-escalate that situation already. And if that other person keeps escalating and you maintain your calm, well, you've already won. But if it does get to a physical altercation, you're calm.
Mm-hmm.
You're collected. You know what you need to do. And this other person's probably the puffy-cheeked, yelling, whatever, and not going to exactly be in control of their emotions and their physical actions, right?
Yeah.
Sort of like we've all seen it. People just close their eyes and go nuts. Well, and the point here isn't, don't get me wrong, it's not to promote any kind of fighting. The point is that if it does get out of hand, like we've all been a part of, you're going to be better for being more disciplined in the months or years before.
Yeah. Right. And that's a big thing is, when someone comes at you or whatever, is trying to remain calm, not flipping, let alone too, if someone's really heated and you're calm, there's nothing more, that's going to mess with their mind than you sitting there showing no emotion. I can say from years of experience, and people are like, I never know what the hell's going on with you because you show nothing.
Right.
And that doesn't mean you have to, nod, smile, this and that. But some people, when they listen, their intent and how they listen, they all take it in differently. Some people are like, oh, yeah, smile. Some people are just, it's all different modes. But I'll say, one of the biggest things, anytime ever fighting, you had weigh-ins or you'd meet your opponent, somebody trying to be that, it's just like, hey, man, good luck.
Yeah.
That's the biggest mind F to most of these guys, or even watching these guys and gals now when they do those things.
Yeah.
And some of them have the mutual respect and they have fun. That's good to see, but you're always going to get that one. But even in the real world where you're not getting ready to go into, a ring or a cage, people who try and get heated and come at you, it's just like, okay.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I think it's almost like when a bird maybe fluffs its feathers a little bit, it's trying to show its ass, if you will. I think that's a lot of that. Right.
Yeah.
It's a bravado and machismo.
And I think that goes all back to, I'm trying to puff my ego because I'm trying to hide something else behind that. Yeah. Another insecurity or such and stuff like that. But that goes all along with that whole thing of people who never want to admit that they're wrong or always have to admit that they're right. Yeah. Your ego's so inflated that you never can do it. And that's a hard thing for anyone to do, is admit you're wrong. Mm-hmm. But when you can do that, you're lowering your ego, but you're also bettering yourself at the same time.
Yeah. There's a very easy trajectory there that you can follow inside your own body and your mind when these things start to happen. You might be in a discussion or an argument, whatever. It might just be just whatever, just conversation, but something sparks you and you don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
no matter if you're right or you're wrong right there, if remember we said if you can be wrong and be right at the same time. And what I mean by that is if somebody is being wrong, if somebody's being full of bravado, it is not up to you to change their mind or to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
But what you can do is sort of backdoor this situation, if you will, and say, hey, is there anything that I can do?
Yes.
To help you feel better about this? Because obviously I messed up somewhere or somebody messed up. I don't know if I can fix that, but what can we do right now to help this? And you can, if you're wrong about something, that's when you say, hey, you know what? I'm wrong. My bad. I'm sorry. What can I do? What else can I do? Because I don't want you to go home angry. I don't want you to be mad. Because if you go home angry, then I'm going to be thinking about it. Mm-hmm. But if we squash it right now.
Yes.
And this goes for your kids or your wife or your husband, whatever. You squash it right now because your heart is bigger than your ego and you win.
Yes.
You know, but the person that doesn't say anything, the person that just walks away and lets it sort of fester, that wasn't the right thing to do. Because as a human in our society, in our country, when one person says something, it is expected that the other one will retort with something.
Yes.
You can't just sit there and not say anything.
No, because they don't expect people, oh, I agree.
Yeah.
No, they're right. Always going to expect rebuttal, something fighting back, and it's just like.
And you don't have to fight.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But if you instead you say, you know what? If that happened to me, I'd probably be angry too. I'm sorry, man. Let's fix this. Let's try to fix this right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I just think that's it. You have to be so disciplined, though. You have to be okay with it not being right.
It's a difficult thing to do, to sit there when you're pissed off, somebody's pissed off at you, and you're trying to go at it and sit there and be. No, I'm not going to say, even with all the little techniques I do, the meditating stuff, I've been doing the, SAMs and WIMs and all this stuff, and that's taken, depends on how long SAMs are. Like, I'll say I'm meditating, probably 30 plus minutes a day.
Yep.
And trying to keep this level head, and let alone it's a struggle to maintain, to keep your mind into that place for that long, because there are so many outside distractions. Like, right. It's like, I wish I had like a soundproof room where you don't hear anything, but that's part of SAMs is like, what do you hear in the room? Taking this in. But that's the same thing when you're getting into these arguments, is actually being attent with the person versus, like, I'll admit, we could be going at it and I'll just shut right off in my head. I'm like,
right, yeah.
And I don't hear words you say.
Yeah.
It just can like, what'd you say? Did you hear what I said? What did I say? I don't know. But like, it's one of those things. I think probably one of the most difficult things as humans is to be able to, one, admit you're wrong, get rid of your ego, and to try when things get heated not to just react.
Right.
And I think, like we were saying earlier, like from our grandpa's generations, it's one of those things that you could have probably slapped them in the face and they would have been like, now you do that to somebody, that can start out a whole like gun battle.
Yeah.
In today's society, because people are too quick to react because they want to prove their ego.
Yeah.
This persona that they're trying to hide versus, hey, why don't we sit and talk or work on me and stuff like that. And I just read this too. I can't remember who did it, but instead of going out and trying to change the world, change yourself first.
Yeah, dude.
I forgot who it was, old gentleman, but it's the truth. If we all really worked on ourselves to better ourselves, we wouldn't have half the problems that we have.
Right. Yeah. And there's when a lot of people will tell you, whether you're reading a book or whatever, a therapist, that when you get angry at someone, more times than not, it's because you're angry about something similar that you do or you've done. And so you don't like that. Mm-hmm. And you don't like it when they do that. But if we could just maybe give a couple of other seconds of like pause there, say, wow, I don't like that, but if I do it too, then there's what good is that, right? So I can't do that. And then like if I come back at it with like I said earlier, with no feedback, just okay, yell at me, I'm going to take it, then I'm going to go away. That's the worst thing you could do for either side. You've got to be able to step back and say, you know what? I don't really get this, or maybe I do, but for the sake of the betterment of our household or our friendship or our family or whatever, I'm going to say that I'm going to step back, and then maybe we can try to figure out why I don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's up to you, that you help me understand that. And that empowers that other person. And then all of a sudden, they're just explaining something to you now instead of being angry, which is exactly what Jeff was saying. You have to be able to sit down and communicate with somebody that what they're doing does not make you happy, in a way that is also saying, how can I make you happy?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I'm messing up here, but I obviously don't know the way that you want me to communicate, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
So please tell me, and then I'm going to make a mental note, and I'm going to try to do that. But you have to do that.
Yeah, and it's got to come from both parties of how can you work with each other to get each of what you're looking for.
Yes.
Whether you're looking for someone to reciprocate listening better, doing something that they're not doing, or like you said, someone's been barraging, yelling, and you just sit there and take it versus, hey, I get you've been angry lately, but
right,
it's not going to, it can't keep going that way.
Yeah,
People aren't going to want to listen to you type thing, you know? And that's, I think a lot of people try to put scare tactics into others by, you know, yelling and stuff like that, threats. And it's like, how long do you think people are going to want to follow you or listening to you?
Right.
If all it is constant threats.
Yeah.
You know, and that's your giant ego getting in the way again of not being true in your message.
Dude, that goes all the way up to our president or the office of the president, right? Like it's anybody.
Everywhere.
If it's, you can, like, it's so funny because everybody gets so angry about the things he says and does. And then I just sit and I think for a minute. I've seen almost everybody I know act like that at some point or another.
Oh, yeah.
So how about you don't like what he's doing, so why don't you figure out something to do better too?
Yes.
Right? I mean, because every action is going to get a reaction. Every energy is going to get an opposing energy. So you don't like that, go do something good.
And that's, it comes back to that like kind of thing. Oh, I'm going to fire right back at this. Okay, why?
Yeah.
Type thing.
Totally.
You know, and it's like what we were talking about earlier, like, you know, yes, of being right and wrong, but also too in those paths of not thinking that you have to follow that path of whomever.
Yeah, you've got your own path.
You know, and that's the thing, like, I think so many people are blinded by people who have these big egos that can speak a sweet word or do this. Like, yeah, you're blinded. You're the sheep following line to create this path when you don't really see these individuals or you don't see it for that. Like when you're anything in life, take a step back, like, and just look at it from a whole. Like, go sit out in your yard and don't just look at one thing. See how far your peripheral can go.
Yeah.
And look at everything. It's pretty impressive when you sit there and do it, how far the human eye can actually see.
Yeah.
I can see you, but man, I can see to the sides of me.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I can see the stuff on the wall over here.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like taking that step back to see the picture as a whole or what you're taking in from someone. Don't just immediate, I don't agree with it. Fire. Take it in, okay, internalize it, see the big picture. But too many people just, oh yeah, I like it. And I'm gonna follow, and they just go and blindly follow.
Yeah.
And that's
you just fall into that doctrine or whatever it is.
Yeah, and that's where so many people I think follow the path of others, and then you lose thought for yourself. Having your own opinion, you're like, no, you can't think that. Nah, you're weak if you think this or do that. Why?
Yeah.
Because you're human and you have an opinion. You're weak because yours differs from that person who you're quote unquote supposed to follow.
Right.
And I think that's so wrong of going back to the whole right or wrong thing. The big ego thinks they're always right, and anyone disagrees. Oh, you're always wrong. Well, then eventually you just get washed into their world and go, okay, I'm here now.
Yeah.
If I have an outside opinion, I'm wrong because it doesn't agree with them. And that's what's sad.
Yeah.
That so many people think that they have to follow just this one line. And it's like, no. You go on a hiking trail. It's like, which way do we want to go? We want to do a short one, long one. There's so many different paths. No one says you have to pick that exact same one as someone else.
Right.
Now, it might be a guided path. Like, okay, yeah, I'm going to follow. I'm going to do some of the things they did because that's where I want to go. Great. Nothing wrong with that. But use the path that you follow someone in a wise way. Don't just follow them because you think they're a good leader, because most good leaders are not. They're just egotistical assholes.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. They just, you're right. You're right. Most of them are. It's almost all ego. Otherwise, like if you don't have that ego, I don't think you'd ever even want to attempt to be in some of those offices or positions.
No, think if you had like a leader that was passive.
Right.
That would react when needed, but majority of the time was passive.
Yeah. That'd be unreal. Can you imagine having a passive country like what is it,
Switzerland?
Sweden or Switzerland? Yeah, Switzerland. Yeah. I've got to be careful there because being a disabled veteran and being somebody that does want to support my brothers and sisters in arms, the system as a whole could definitely take a lesson in pacifism. I mean,
I think we all could.
Right, yeah, totally. And that doesn't mean you're weak. That means that you don't lash out every time somebody yells at you. Yeah.
No, and to go along with that, like Lao Tzu said, a perfect thing, like, the best leaders are the ones where the people said that we did it ourselves, look what we done, versus the leader who says that, look what I created, look what they done.
Yeah.
If you are a great leader, your people will have done something immense and not give you credit for it because you taught them the right way without having to be an ego or a presence over them.
Yeah.
But I think anyone in leadership powers now really don't do that.
I don't think they do either. Hell, I bet you. Okay, can you imagine? Our lives are pretty stressful now, pretty hectic. Can you imagine leading the United States as any office, whatever, president, vice president, any of them? If they started their day out with meditation, can you? Can you even imagine?
I think you'd have to do a 12-hour meditation to be as calm. Like I couldn't imagine like how many emails,
whatever,
text, all the things of social media, especially if they're on social media, like how many barragements of things they just get from people on a day-to-day basis. To think that that's what you're bombarded with, like if you could actually have someone tally it, how much good versus bad comes into your day of comments.
Right.
I would more than likely think that most of these people in power get more bad than good.
Well, sure. And when you're looking for something, you'll find it.
Yeah.
If I hop onto social media and I'm looking for things about COVID or Epstein or whatever it is, Wayfair, I'll find it.
Oh, you will, because your intent is to seek it out.
Absolutely.
But if that's not your intent to seek out the bad or the negative and everything, you're like, oh man, hey, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good job.
Yeah, but you have to in that mindset. Yes, thank you. Yes,
and that's where, like, on my social media, like, if you don't provide value, I'm not following you. Or what? It's a lot of this. I follow tons of these mindset things and all that. It's like, I'd rather it be just flooded with that. Before, it was nonstop fitness stuff.
Yeah.
And then it's fitness people bashing other fitness people or bashing other companies. It's like,
I've never seen anything like it.
Why? Why can't you just, hey, man, good job on that lift, or hey, good for you on gaining weight or losing weight? It's all about bashing and stuff like that. It's like, it can't be anyone ever be proud for another company of doing well.
Dude.
It's always, this. It's like, so it's like, you know what? I'm just going to remove myself from those people.
Yeah,
like
take
you control your social media. Now, obviously, some of the ads you don't control, but you can control your social media at the end of the day. Remember, you can follow who you want to follow, block who you want to block, unfollow whomever. It's not the news where no, you're not talking about that. You can't change that. That's something that's already determined out,
prepackaged.
When you turn on the TV, but your social media, you can control those people. Someone who belligerently spit stuff you don't like, cool. If you don't want to unfollow them, just block them.
Peace.
Then it won't come into your feed.
Yeah. Yeah. And, in doing that, you automatically negate the chance of you getting angry about the next thing that you see, right? So you've combed through it. You're disciplined. Well, now if I do see something negative, I just go right past it, right? Like, I know it's there. And it doesn't have to be mean or rude or lewd or anything. It's just something I don't want to see right now. It's the same reason why I don't look at social media until later on in the day. I get my meditating in, do all the other things. I don't want the chance.
Yeah.
But if you do see it, you get sucked in.
Yeah.
And just like when you're meditating, you might hear a noise and get sucked into that noise. And then next thing you know, you're thinking about picking peaches in wherever, Georgia. You're not supposed to be there, but then you bring yourself back. And that's the same thing, right?
Yeah, and it's not going down those deep wormholes. And it's like, I'll get up early. Like some days I'm up really early, like today was one of them. And I might put a quote up, but I literally am like, what am I feeling today, or what's been going on? And I'm like, I know a quote. I'm like, from who? Like, I read these things left and right. I can I can figure out who sometimes, or I'm like, I think it was so-and-so, and I'll try and remember the quote, and I'll pull it up. But, like, I put that up, and that's the only thing I will do social media. Then I'm right back off of it. Or I literally wait, like, 2 hours later. Then I'm like, okay, cool. I'll do it. But so many people, that's the first thing they want to do is get on that thing and see what's on, look at the likes and the comments, this and that. And it's like, it's a sad world. Like if, you're living for the next like or comment and this and that. And it's just like, cool.
Yeah. I was online the other day and I found another social media app, site, whatever. But it's much more bare bones. It's sort of like when Facebook first started.
When it was for college students.
Yeah, and when it was easy to navigate, and I know I've said that before, but if you want to do a couple of things as a business owner on there, good luck navigating it. And they keep changing it, so I'd rather not. But I'd much rather get off of it altogether if at all possible. Mm-hmm. I don't have a need to stay in touch with friends or family around the world because I've got enough to keep me busy right here. Yeah. Really, and we all do. But that's an escape, right? That's a lot of people's escape. Well, what if we had an escape that wasn't full of other people's agendas and propaganda? And I mean companies, politicians, counties, states,
you're following or getting on the things that you truly want. And that's why I've removed so many things, and I follow all those mindset things, stoic things, all this, or people who put out good things that I genuinely enjoy when they do.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. It's like, because then like if you go to a search or like, Instagram or Facebook puts the things they think you'll like, it's because that's what you've been seeing. So then all your social media gets re-flooded with good things.
Yep. But you all of a sudden don't get so mad.
Yeah, you're going to completely change the entire spectrum of your social media by what you search or what you follow. You follow all things that are good or things you like. I've been following a lot of like the Jeep stuff and the Bronco thing. Like I'm like, oh man, it's pretty cool. Yeah, look at it. So it's like mine's been hit with nothing but like Bronco. I'm like, oh, I didn't get to see that image. Okay, cool. Look, new interior. Look,
different color.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And I'm fine with that because that's what I was looking at. I've been reading the reviews. I'm like, yeah, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
My grandpa had a Bronco, and it's like, oh yeah, that's cool. Something cool. So it's like, you put what you want to see out there, but you start following all this stupid crap that's going on. It's all you're going to be bombarded with.
Yeah, you got to pick your poison, right?
And that's why I tell people, you don't got to follow people on social media. So what?
Yeah. I've
don't take offense to it.
I took a look at it whenever Barrel first started a few years ago. Like just my friend group exploded. Mm-hmm. Awesome, but it exploded in a way that it wasn't really manageable. It was like, oh, cool, all right, I'm Jeremy, and you like what we do, so cool, come on. And now I get on there and I'm like, okay, I don't like what you're saying. I don't like what you're putting out there for the world. And historically, I'd respond, I'd say something. Mm-hmm. Well, finally, I got a damn brain working again, and now it's just like, you know what? I don't like that, and bye.
Yeah.
Get out of my life. I don't value you in any way, shape, or form when it comes to this platform. So I don't want you in this platform, my life, this thing. And some people would say, well, you just want everybody around you to get your own opinion? Yeah. When it comes to how you treat people and how you want to be treated, 100%.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm going to treat you poorly if I ever see you. I'm telling you that I don't like what you say on a day-to-day basis. So, hey, I'll high five next time. Maybe we'll have a decent conversation.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So many people get so strung up on that. I'm going to follow this path. I'm going to do this, and this. And it's like you follow whom you think's a good leader, and it doesn't matter who. You don't have to be a politician to the president. It doesn't matter. Anybody in a leadership role. Most people are brainwashed. There are some great leaders and good people out there.
Sure.
But a lot of people get so brainwashed and funneled into the valley, and they just follow blindly thinking, oh, this and that. It's like, but you don't, again, step back to look to see the bigger picture. Everyone should have their own opinion. There is nothing wrong with that.
Sure, it's what makes us great.
Yet we should be allowed to have opposing opinions. There's nothing. That's human nature.
Right on.
But that doesn't mean you need to go with the pack and follow every opinion of the person ahead of you, because then you are not being individualistic. You're not being yourself. You now are another cog in the wheel, and you no longer exist. You are now theirs.
Yeah, they own you.
They own, exactly. Same thing with emotions. If you constantly get pissed or let someone else who says this or this does this, and they constantly get you, revved up, whatever, they are now own you. That's right. They own your emotions.
Right.
And too many people fall down this path and don't step back to have an opinion. And I think because too many people nowadays don't do anything for themselves to develop this mindset to say, oh, I agree with some of those points, but not a lot of it.
Yeah. Can you imagine if you will, you're on one side of a fence or the other, you put the fence up or you're utilizing the fence to secure your field, whoever you are, excuse me, what if you had a week where anytime you were hit with some problem with a fence or a problem with whatever, that you didn't get angry about it and somebody didn't get angry at you. You both just said, hey, man, I think we had a hiccup here. You mind come back out? We can fix this together, right? Because this is how I got to do it. This is how you got to do it.
Be amazed.
Yeah, and you're like, hey, you know what? I didn't know that you were going to use this fence like that or for this. So that's why it's like this. Let's go ahead and change that. As opposed to, I'm going to get on social media, and I'm going to tell everybody how horrible this company is or this person is, and then it's going to make me angry. And then it never...
Because then you'll get people that will back you, then you'll get people that oppose you, and you just continue the onslaught.
Yes, and so where I'm going with that is, okay, so now you've got all this negative energy about an event that happened. You put it out there. Other people read it because you have been putting out negative things, but you've been active, so your activity is always present in their feed.
Yes.
And that's how it works, right?
Yes, that's true.
The more content we pump out as a company with Barrel Brands, the more it's in front of people. I get it. Well, what if you didn't put that content out there? Again, like I said, what if you didn't pay attention to the negative shit? What if, like Jeff said, like you said, you get rid of the negative people, and then all of a sudden you're like, man, this feed, it looks so different now. Or what if you get on YouTube and you're just watching nothing but F-15 videos? I want to see this bird go straight up in the air, right?
Yeah, and
it's all that's going to be there.
And that's what social media and these platforms do. Cookies, as many of you, like we get into a deep wormhole of how companies use those to their advantage, but it's how marketing is done. It tracks what you do, no matter what you think. Everything you do, every little data, your data mine, no matter what you're doing. And
it's all stored.
Yeah.
Don't think for a minute that anything that we have ever done online, good, bad, or indifferent, isn't stored.
It's stored somewhere, you know. But it's all those things of exactly that. But again, going back to the social media. So what if some person constantly puts the same crap over? Well, maybe, you know, let's say maybe they are your best friend. Cool. You don't have to read it. There is no one saying, you got to read that. Okay, cool. Right. You skim on by it.
Yeah. I've got very close friends that if we were to talk sincere politics, my blood may boil. Because nobody's ever explained to me why I'm wrong. They just tell me why they're right.
And that goes into the conversations of no one wants to have the debate anymore of like the old school debates of like, this is what I want to focus on. These are my policies or whatever. This is my beliefs. This, and this. Okay, cool. Well, you know, henceforth, no different than, you know, the battles through religions for the past thousands of years. You're wrong, I'm right. Why?
Yeah.
But no one's going to sit down going, okay, you're such and such, I'm such. Well, why do you guys hate us? And well, let's go. Why do you hate us? And then vice versa. Oh, you just because someone 1,000 years ago said that? Oh, okay, 1,000 years ago.
Right.
Great.
Things were same then, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's no different than, you know, if you were from Germany. Oh, cool. Yeah. Were you a Nazi? No, there are a lot of people that families come from Germany. It doesn't mean something that happened in the past needs to continue forward into the future.
Right.
But that, again, that goes along. You just follow the blind path of whatever you're a part of. Yeah. And not having that educational conversation with somebody else and saying, hey, let's talk.
Yeah. I would say that our government has been run like a religion since its inception, if you ask me. It's very, very rule-driven, very much so we're right and you're wrong. There's no two-way street. Like in religion, not spirituality, but in religion, you can't question it. Because that's how it is.
You're not supposed to. It's in the book.
We believe it because it's in the book.
Whomever's book.
Right.
Yeah.
So my daughter likes to cook. So if she doesn't tweak recipes and make them her own, then what good is her cooking? It's just like what anybody else can do.
Doesn't make her not a cook.
No, it doesn't.
Chef in the future.
It does not.
Henceforth, every chef has dishes that they've tweaked.
Right. They make them their own. Our government, whether you get one side or the other in power, they're all in power. So it's like, it's so funny to hear like the left or the right arguing and complaining about losing power of the House or the Senate or the presidential office. Bitch, you're all still in power. You all still run all of us. So don't make us think Like, oh, woe is you. You didn't get the nod this time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're all in power. And so I look at it and I go, okay, Catholic priest for far too long was untouchable. Even if something happened with pedophilia,
past,
right?
Yeah,
in the past, right. So when do we get to hold these other people accountable for their actions? May not be pedophilia.
Well,
but
anything.
It's trying to hold the leader of your cult accountable for things. You can't. It's his cult, her cult. You can't do it. Sorry.
That's most leaders. They get to that point of power that nothing they do is wrong anymore.
That's
going into that big ego thing again of, I can speak upon this from my years, and so can you, of things we've encountered or things we've done that think of people right off the top of my head. Obviously, we're not going to put names out there, but
sure,
that they think they are untouchable because of their power or whatever. Well, you're only a power in such and such area.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
But again, it's no different than politics. These people think, oh, I got this title. Oh, cool, you got a title. Great, you earned it. But that doesn't mean that you are above the law of the world, that everyone, when you open your mouth, will follow. No different than when someone listens to us on this podcast. Great if you oppose or have an opinion against us. That's fine. That is what makes the world unique, is we're all able to believe, feel, do the things within reason that we want to do. But that's what makes us human, that something that works for you. I don't like that. Different styles of lifting, beliefs, whatever.
Yeah.
That is fine. That's what the world needs. It needs diversification versus everyone following in the same line. If you do that, then great. What did we create?
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm sure that when you walk into a dojo or an establishment, that maybe a ninjutsu gym or judo or something or whatever, if you are a Kempo karate expert, you're probably at some point going to think that what you're doing is better than the guys that are doing Taekwondo or some form of kickboxing.
There are those ones that might think that, but a true martial artist in the black belt sense, let alone doesn't matter what rank, should, if I walk into another studio and it's of a different style and say like, hey, I'm a black belt in such and such styles, but I want to come here and train. You should still remember at the end of the day that inside that black belt is a white belt. If you cut them open, there's a white belt in there, because you should always still be learning. You should never like, I know everything. If you did, great. Then you'd be the 10th. Yeah. You'd be the Soke of the system. And even then, you should still be always learning, even if you're the highest of rank. But you should go in and there should be that admiration. Oh, okay, cool. You do Kempo? Oh, I do Taekwondo. Excellent.
Nice, yeah.
Well, thank you. Welcome for having you. Who did you study under? How long have you been doing it? Great. Love to have you. And just, it's that mutual respect that, yes, our arts are different, but if I went and did that now, I'm like, I got different black belts in certain arts and others I don't, but I'm definitely not going to go walk into a style of martial arts that I don't have that rank in and go, I'm the badass. No, it's like,
right. But how many how many people in these gyms do and have thought and spouted off, especially back in the 80s and 90s,
that was bigger.
Their style's the best.
Like,
that style
especially
sucks.
in like Bruce Lee, if you watch the Be Water 30 for 30 documentary ESPN did, talks a little bit about those types of things, and that's more how these were done, is like, that's what Bruce got sent back to the U.S. is they were fighting and stuff like that. They would go out and fight on rooftops to see whose style was the best.
Right.
And that was proof. Well, now it's like, you want to prove you're better. Well, good. Go enter tournaments.
Right.
Fight.
Yeah. Yeah. I brought that up because I think that it's still, when we talk about dealing with our ego and what drives us to be better than another person or another thing, don't forget that everybody has that. Starting from the youngest person in the world, it starts to develop. It starts to develop whenever they start to understand left from right and up and down and reward. And speaking of just being a human and being decent to people, I had a gentleman contact me from a company that specializes in beard oils. Well, that's one product that we make. And we were talking. He said, man, I love this part of your packaging. I've had something like it before. I'm trying to find it again, but nobody's got it. Do you have any idea? Dude, I could have so easily just been like, why would I want to tell my competition where to find something? But, dude, whenever I tell you this, it's so freaky. You got to believe this. I get a hold of them and I say, hey, man, these are the people that have it. They're out right now. Let me see if another source has it. I still haven't been able to track them down yet.
Yeah.
But, you know, I've got quite a few here. So what should stop me from just saying, hey, man, you have $50, $40 or whatever. I'm going to send you some of what you need. Next time, order a little bit more and I'll pay you. You know what I mean? That doesn't happen from the ego. That happens from the heart being, empathetic.
It goes into that thing that many people have said this, like, cool, we both have beard oil companies. Why can I not be happy for you that you're doing well, and you can't be happy for me that I'm doing well?
Right. Yeah.
Too many people have these egos. Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be better than yourself. So whether like, hey, we were this many dollars last year in sales, we want to try and beat that. Okay, that's personal growth. It's not cool. I'm going to go kick the shit out of X, Y, and Z beard oils.
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to bring them down. No, like if you have that kind of hatred and animosity to another company, individuals, then you will always lose. It should be like, even when I fought, it's like we're doing this for sports. When you get these guys, oh man, I hate you. How do you hate me? You don't even know me. Whatever, dude. That's just what gets you riled up in there. Right. Good, go for it.
Yeah.
But it's those things that it's too many people in this world that can't be happy for another. Like, hey, cool. Hey man, you got that new car. Oh, that's awesome. Or you built that new house. Oh, hey man, congrats on the business. You guys expanded. That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, I'm happy for businesses to see that, do that, and grow. That's good. That's fine.
Yeah, that tells me that somebody else has enough of an appetite for what they think their potential is. Mm-hmm. Like you've actually had a taste for something and you want more of it, right? Like I've made something, people really, really dug it, so now I'm going to keep making it. All too many people will be like, yeah, I did that, but I can't really do it too much right now because I work, until like 9 o'clock at night or this, that, or the other. At some point, it's okay to step away from that, and it's okay to not have health insurance for a little bit. It's okay to, trust me, I know you're going to say, well, I got kids, I got this. So did I. So does Jeff. We all do.
It's good in life to take a leap of faith or to stick to your morals and your guns, and I don't think too many people do that. And again, going down that path, more people would rather follow this path, think, oh, I'm doing the right thing, than get the cojones to go, I'm going this way now. Left, right, or I'm going back.
Yeah.
And that's something I think a lot of people need to do. Like you've been instilled with these morals, these values, stick to those. They did well for you in life for so long. When you start removing those values, those key components of you are no longer you. You are now becoming a quote unquote puppet to whomever is in charge.
Yeah.
And not being this free thinking entity. A sense you are becoming a member of the cult.
Yeah. Yeah. You're that cog in the wheel, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the thing a lot of people don't need to think is follow your own path.
Yeah.
No matter what it may be, is because that's truly what will at the end of the day is going to make you happy. Is, no different than if you didn't take that leap for Barrel Brands, none of this would be happening right now.
Yeah,
but
totally.
You had to say, hey, all right, shit, let's do this.
Yeah.
And obviously you can explain no different than anyone else. It's not been easy roads, but you kind of have to. But I think if no one ever did that in life, we wouldn't have half the companies and things that exist.
Right. Good or bad.
Don't be afraid to be that for yourself, to take that leap, because maybe you're the next, style Barrel Brands or other XYZ company. Maybe that's you and you just don't see it yet.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of people that if you thought more in those terms of, that's I have this great passion for this. Maybe I could be successful and do this. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Give it a shot. Maybe you don't, jump and quit right off on day one.
Yeah, totally.
Obviously, because you were doing other stuff way beforehand. And same thing like when I created my personal training business. I wasn't just, I'm going to quit. No, I built it up. And I'm like, I have enough people. Okay, you all want to come train with me? Yes, cool. And I'm leaving, so-and-so, and here we go.
Yeah.
It's those things that have some faith in yourself and don't be afraid to fly. Even the baby bird.
Oh, yes.
Will jump out of that nest and don't,
Yeah.
It takes time. No one says you're going to be up and, flying on day one. It takes time.
Dude, wife and I took a short jaunt down to a Castor River shut-ins in southern Missouri. It's by Elephant Rock and Johnson Shut-In. It's a beautiful place. And we went by ourselves. The kids weren't really into it. So, let's just you and I go. So we're sitting there, and the wife had some things. She wanted to go and sort of explore. I wanted to sit and read and, just sort of be for a little bit. So while she's away, there's like children playing. There's dogs barking. There's, adults, hooting and hollering off in the distance. And I'm in my little cubby there, and I look up, and there's a bald eagle flying over us.
Oh, sweet.
And there's like this perfect opening in the sky where I'm sitting, and that's where it's like flying
right through the canopy.
Right through the canopy, dude, just right in the space where I can see it. And as I look back on that, well, that day and all the way up to today, that bald eagle is revered by men and women alike in this country, right? Mm-hmm. It's a symbol. That bird doesn't fly in packs.
No, it's true.
That bird flies by itself, and it's the most beautiful bird there is up there.
It's beautiful to watch them fly.
It is, and they just soar. So why can't you be that eagle? Why can't you soar? Why can't you not be judged or let the judgments or the egos of other people bring you down to the branch where you think you can't leap off of? So as we get to our end today, as Jeff said, soar, fly, do your thing, but you can't do it if you're letting your ego get in the way and getting mad at other people because you didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just be the next me. Be the next Elon Musk. Be the next anybody in between.
Take another Elon. Someone
just right.
Thought process caliber.
Totally. Yeah, man. Let's just be something. Don't be a do nothing human, right? Don't just be content because your payment on your rent or your mortgage is done and you got a little bit left in the bank.
Don't be the cog in the wheel. Step out, be your own wheel. You might be a broken wheel for a little bit because you're not rolling smooth, but no one of any business, any venture jumped out and was just got the ball rolling.
That's right. Yeah. And don't just be a squeaky wheel to be a squeaky wheel in a machine.
No.
You have to step outside of the machine in order to really be the squeaky wheel. And when people start to push back and tell you that what you're trying to achieve or accomplish is wrong, just tell them, well, thank you, and I appreciate that it's wrong for you, but for me right now, it's absolutely right.
Yes.
And maybe we'll find you sitting here with us one day telling us how you made that leap. And
exactly.
We really hope that we do. We hope that you tell us about the leaps that you make and how you soar and how it makes you feel like you're on a different level, much like when Jeff and I talk about meditating at those levels where you just feel like you're floating, right?
Yeah.
I know Jeff just experienced that this past week. And it's pretty cool to hear, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So that's all I got right there, man. Just people like Jeff said, we couldn't say it any more clearly. Spread your wings and fly, people. And we believe in you. You
take a risk.
You got to believe in yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool. All right, guys. Well, we're going to do something a little different today. We've been taking you out with a beautiful local band, DiBiase. But tonight, and, you may have noticed earlier, it's a different song. So I have been blessed to be a part of a band called Elbow Through Hammer. We have just begun practicing again, and we're going to be playing out again before you know it. So anyway, that's that. You're going to go out with some Elbow Through Hammer, and hope you like it. If you don't, I'll start playing something else, I promise. But
just let us know.
Yeah, I think you'll like it. And one day I'll play some lighter music, but until then, we're just going to keep on playing the stuff we love. So to all of you guys out there, we love you again. Just like we tell you every week, go and do something awesome. And, like Jeff said,
fly, be the best person you can be every day. Try and do a little good every day.
That's right.
Simple.
You're going to mess up. Don't get mad at yourself.
Yeah.
You're going to lose focus. Don't get mad at yourself. You're doing it. You're doing the work. You're trying. Do the work. Be good, people. And we'll see y'all next time.
Thank you.
All right. Peace.
Not to lose, not to lose, not to lose.